Hello everyone, this is Karthik from the hiddendeveloper.com website, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to create a smart TV application using Caph framework in Samsung Smart TV. So it's been a long time since I have published my last video in the Samsung Smart TV tutorial series. So here I am continuing my list of video tutorials. So before starting with the coding process, I would like to tell you a little bit introduction about the Caph framework. This Caph framework is a UI framework provided by the Samsung Smart TV platform that is supported on Smart TV versions from 2015 onwards. So in order for you to deploy a web application in Samsung Smart TV using the Caph framework, you have to use a TV that is from the year 2015. Those TV models that are after this 2015 year will be supporting this application that are developed using this Caph framework. So what is this Caph framework anyway? So this Caph framework is something that provides a list of UI components ready for the developer to use. These UI components can be customized according to the application requirements that the user is building, and the developer has got a ton of UI components at his disposal, so that makes him concentrate on the application task rather than designing the UI components everything from scratch for an application. So it speeds up the development process for in the case of Smart TV. So not only the UI, this Caph framework, apart from providing this predefined UI components for the developer to use, it also provides separate packages like AngularJS and jQuery packages, where you people are getting the developer people are getting an extra boost in developing the Smart TV applications using modern web components. So a lot of UI components have been provided by the Samsung Smart TV. So this Caph framework. So in order to give you a little bit a list that are most frequently used are like box, panel, scene, progress bar, grid, list, views, navigator, etc. So that will speed up the development process. So let's get started with the development. Fire up your Samsung Smart TV SDK. So I'm using the Smart TV SDK legacy platform 2015 version. So once your Samsung Smart TV SDK is ready, the first thing that you have to do is make sure that your Caph perspective is selected. So let's go ahead and do that. Select this open perspective menu, and from that you have to select the Caph perspective. So once it is set, then your IDE is ready for creating applications in Caph framework. So let's go ahead and create a new project. So for that, let's go to File, New Project, and in the list that shows in the pop-up window, you have to select the web app project type under the Samsung Smart TV. Then go to Next. In the next window, all you have to do is select the you can see a section called the Caph Web UI framework. So under this Caph Web UI framework, you are given multiple options like basic project and UI designer. So this the basic under the UI designer, you are given two options like the empty project and template. For the time being, we are going to create a basic project. So the difference between the basic project and the one that is created by the UI designer is that the UI designer provides a visual interface where you can drag and drop the UI components, just like so for those of you who are familiar with Microsoft Visual Studio UI design process, the UI components will be at the side, and you have to be like manually dragging and dropping those in the see in the application, and you have to like customize it, like the labels, etc., etc., so that further speeds up your designing process. Since this is our introductory class, so let us start with the basic project first. Let us do some coding in hand rather than using the mouse and keyboard mouse to drag and drop the UI components and developing the application. So for this video we will go with the basic project. I'm selecting the basic project Caph, so I'm going to give the project name as Caph demo YouTube. Okay, so once I finish, I can see that my Caph project is created. Okay, so let's take a look at the default files that are created along with this project. So this is the widget info that actually tells your introduces your application widget to the Samsung Smart TV System Manager, and this is the scene.js. So basically this Caph UI framework works in terms of scenes or pages. So what these scenes are like, you can imagine a scene as something like a canvas in which various components are drawn. So a single scene consists of a single view in an application. So if you consider the entire application, you will be having a set of scenes with number of individual components in each scenes that work with each other, and overall all these scenes will be making up your application. So this is the single scene file. This is a basic project, so automatically there is a single scene created by default, and this is the scene file. So for our clarity of perception, let us say that this scene is a single page in our application. So index.html is obviously the landing page in our application. So this is the page that is initially getting launched once you launch your app. And it also if you take a look at the JavaScript snippet here, you can see it basically does some initialization task for the Caph framework. So basically what happens is here I'll explain this a little bit later. So this is the config.xml file. This is actually the configuration file of our application. So by this configuration file, it actually indicates the type of application, the basic properties in our application, etc., etc. So once we install this app, our basic properties like the application name, the other stuff like the icon for our application, etc., etc., are fed or are reported by this file to the Samsung Smart TV Application Manager. So let us go to the landing page here. Landing page, the main point is that the scene one, these two are the default libraries that have to be included in the Samsung Smart TV landing page in order for our app to be a Caph application. So the first one will be the Caph library, which is included by default by the project manager. The second one is the default styling for the Caph UI components. This is the default styling, that is, if you do not provide a styling along with the Caph components that you create, the default stylings will be imported from this style sheet. You can also customize those styles with your extra custom CSS files. Okay, so this is the scene file or the page file that I have set. So for our app, we have an initial page that is scene1.js. We have to include that file also. And okay, so this is the starting point. This event gets called once our application or the main page, that is the index page in our application, gets loaded. So inside this function onLoad, there is a little bit initialization code for the Caph framework. So what this Caph framework does is that it checks whether the Caph this code indicates that this Caph framework is not run from a browser environment, and also this Caph framework should be done from a Samsung Smart TV. Okay, once these all conditions are met, it will be running the Caph application. So once this command is run, Caph has something called a scene manager. Scene manager is something that manages the scenes or pages. So the scene manager is the one who decides which scene to show, which scene to hide, which scene to move, which scene to activate, which scene to deactivate. All these actions are initially decided by the scene manager. So let's go to the scene file. Here we can see that the scene manager has been initialized by default. So you can get a reference to the scene manager by calling caph.wi.widget.sceneManager.get instance. So this is the API call that is going to return you the reference to the current scene manager in your application. So the scene manager has a method called add_scene_event_handler. So this method is called when you are adding a particular scene to the scene manager in your Caph UI application. So in our case, our default scene will be scene 1. So currently we are adding scene 1 with a second optional object or second object called the event handler for this corresponding scene, which is scene 1. So this event handler has a method called onCreate, which is a callback that gets called once our scene gets initialized. So once our scene gets initialized, this onCreate will be handled, and this is the place where we are going to initialize the default the UI components, the Caph UI components that we are going to display to the user. So this is a simple application. Here we are doing everything by hand, rather than the UI based design in which we have to drag and drop the UI components into the application or the scene page directly. But since this is as I already said, this is the first application in the Caph framework series, I'll be doing the widget initialization, etc., by coding directly. In this application, we are going to demonstrate a simple UI component called box, which is nothing but a rectangular patch of area that shows or hides something that can contain some further other components, etc. Okay, so let's get started. So before drawing any UI components into the scene, we need something called a context. This is almost similar to the rendering context that is present in Canvas in the HTML5 application in browsers. So this context we call in the Caph framework, there is an application or the UI rendering context. We can simply call it as UI context. So where UI context equal to caph.wi.widget.ui context. Okay, now I have obtained a reference to this UI context class. Now I have to kind of initialize it. Okay, so let's keep this as capital, and let's keep the context object equal to new UI context. Okay, so now we have initialized the context. The next thing we have to do is initialize the UI widget. So the UI widget that we are going to use currently in our app is a box widget. So let's go ahead and initialize the box. So where box class equal to caph.wi.widget.box. So where box widget equal to new box. So this is just a simple box. Now let's go ahead and add some styles to it. Okay, so this box widget has a class, has a method called add class. Now we are going to add a class called box class. Okay, now the custom class has been added, and we need to set the basic dimensions for the app. So let's go ahead and set the dimensions by calling the method box widget dot set size of let's say 200 comma 200, that is the width and the height. Now we have to set the position for the box widget. So let's say the position to be some 100 comma 100, that is the x and y coordinates in which the box widget has to be rendered. We can also set some opacity level to this box widget. Okay, now this box widget also has some property called scale, which is the scaling factor. In this case I'm going to give 0.8, which is a little bit less size than the normal one. Here the third component refers to this. The box is actually a 3D component. Okay, so in the position, for the position component you need to give the coordinates for the z axis also. Okay, so the set position and set scale, you have to give the coordinates for the z axis also, since box can also be a 3D component also. In this case we are making the z axis readings to be 0, so that you can get a 2D view of the object. Okay, so now I think the basic properties are set. Box widget also has other properties wherein you can set the view, the rotation, etc, etc, but here we are limiting our settings to only these basic properties. Now let's go ahead and render this box widget. Okay, so this box widget dot render, where I have to render is I have to use the UI context object. Then the UI context object is hidden by default. Now I have to show this object. Once this is done, this box widget will be rendered. One more thing that is pending is we haven't added any colors. We just have added a CSS class to the box widget. So this is our class. So let's go ahead and define the styling for this class. So here I'm going to create a new folder called style sheets. Inside the style I'm going to create a new file called style.css, and I'm going to create a new style for this class. Okay, let me set the background color to be green. Okay, now I have to include this style sheet file inside my HTML. So link to src. Okay, now everything is set. Let's go ahead and run the application. For running the application, all you have to do is right click your project name in the project explorer, then go to run as Samsung Smart TV emulator. This Samsung Smart TV emulator will be firing up, and it will take some time based on the configurations of your system. So let's wait for till the emulator shows up. Now you can see that the symbol box widget with the applied background color and the other properties like width and height and the XY position has been rendered to the screen. So this is the basic widget, the box widget that we have used currently in our tutorial, and we have created everything in hand. So in my next video tutorial, I'll be showing you people how to create a UI widget that is the same box widget using the UI design tool that is provided with the Caph framework. And in my further videos, I'll be dealing with 1 or 2 UI components and the basic customizable properties that we can use in my further tutorial. So stay tuned. I hope you got a little bit idea about what this Caph framework is all about and how you can start your development with Samsung Smart TV with Caph framework. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for further videos.